Session. I'm going to review this video here. These are friends of Dan Markell. I've been covering the Adelson case and using that case to help men in relationships, and that's what I'm going to do here. This is a husband and wife. They're Jewish, and they were really good friends of Dan Markell. So the police have called them in. This is a couple days after the murder, and they just want to try to see if they got any information that can help lead to a suspect or a person of interest. So anyway, let's see what they got. And, I'll see if we got some learning lessons.
With Dan Markell's friends, Alex and Maya Greenberg. I received this from a FOIA request. Some of the parts of the video are redacted. They were redacted when I got the video. You will not hear audio. This was done by the police prior to me receiving the video.
So 8 days after the murder. The murder was 14th. It's the 22nd, obviously. She's a dentist and he's a vet. Pretty accomplished couple. She's a good-looking couple. She's pretty. Go forward a little bit.
Everything down here.
Oh, really?
Except work.
Except for work.
What's y'all's, what y'all do?
I'm a dentist.
Oh, really? Florida, Auburn?
Georgia.
I guess.
All the ones around here are Florida, Auburn. The old guys are all Auburn because Florida didn't have a vesicle back then. So
These are good people. I like the, and I'll just say not because I have a bias or anything. I mean, but look how much she's smiling as a good couple. And look how she's looking at him. She's looking at him. He's a leader. He leads just because of who he is. Look at how she looks at him. That's what a woman does that likes you. You see how they respect each other too.
So you're
Look how she's in shape.
Are you really? Okay.
She's got makeup on. She keeps herself in shape.
in Cairo. We got one in Camilla too. Cairo is the main one.
He's in shape. He looks good. She looks good. This is a good looking couple.
There's 5 of us in the practice.
Oh.
So there's the money comes from small animals, but we do a lot of large animals. There's a lot of cows. There's cow work every day.
There's a lady that respects her man.
Less horses, less goats.
Not talking over him, letting him talk.
I say my girlfriend, she worked in North Florida.
Yeah.
Right down there, a lot of those there are a lot of Auburn.
He's laid back, chill.
Simmons.
Yeah.
Man, my dog just tore both of its rear,
ACLs.
the main ligament.
All right, I'm gonna keep going.
She wasn't walking after that, so.
All right, keep going.
3 whatever. Especially over the last probably 6 months, to be honest, it was a lot. I think it was even more so.
Until it started going to New York.
Yeah, he was gone more to New York. But when he was in town, it seemed like he was hanging out more. Not just Friday night, Saturday, but he did holiday Thanksgivings, Fourth of July's.
It's like family.
Well, I don't know if his parents contacted you yet.
They were he was talking, that's what we were downstairs, that he was on the phone with his mom, so.
About the house and stuff.
I gave him the key. I gave him the key.
So I'm not planning on shooting. We're gonna go get the freezer.
But real quick, I mean, these are great friends of his. They, this is the aftermath. This is, and what's sad is this is what happens. Yeah, he was dealing with someone diabolical, and he was dealing with a diabolical family. But this is what happens when you don't play the game right? I don't want to go into all the mistakes, but he didn't see the disrespect. He didn't see he didn't see how much Wendy hated him. He didn't see how much she didn't care about him. He didn't see the severe disrespect, and he didn't know that when women are like that, their concern, their regard for your feelings, your safety is absolutely zero. And it's all women. It's a feature, not a bug, but whatever. But so, and look what happened. He lost his life, and all his friends, everyone's picking up the pieces. They're talking about the house here, and just it's really sad, and he didn't deserve any of this. All because the family didn't like the fact that he didn't want Wendy moving back to South Florida and want her to stay in Tallahassee because of the kids. Okay, it's just crazy.
But she wanted to do, she asked me not to give it to anybody.
Hang on 1 second ago.
Pushy. I've only
Yeah.
met her and she just.
Yeah, I think her heart's in the right place,
I
but
do.
she's
Yeah, they're talking. Well, so yeah.
There's one person that's asked for it, and I don't want her to know that we have it.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Okay.
See, this is, I'm going to say kind of, this is okay. So they're talking about a really good friend of Dan Markell, and I've seen her video, and she's very much just a go-getter, bull in a china cat, like whatever. She's just hardcore energy, in your face type, and she's mad about this murder. Obviously, she's a loving friend of his, but they don't like her because, especially the female. You see how the male reacts? He's kind of but the female's like There's a little bit of competition because this girl was a really good friend of Dan Markell's, but so are they. And women don't like that, they want, anyway. So I think there's a little, infighting with this lady. Talks about how she doesn't like that girl, blah, blah, blah. She just doesn't, the girl's being, maybe, maybe consider, abrasive. But, there's a lot of emotions going on right now, and that's the way she is, She's not like this lady. This lady's very feminine, very soft. So, but anyways.
Yeah, I don't want her to know that.
See?
Yeah, I'm not.
Look how women fight, though. I don't want her to know.
She seems really pushy.
See?
And she just
Yeah. I think her heart's in the
See?
right
Look at the guy.
place, obviously.
pushy.
But look at the lady.
Tell us all
It's like,
about history.
The guy, he's like, yeah,
Well, obviously you met Danny first.
That's a difference when you start having conflict with women. How they view women. She got turned off, and that's okay. I get it. Women gotta make quick calls. The guy, we're kind of like, if I have to kick someone's ass, I gotta kick someone's ass. If I gotta, that's kind of how we are. We're just
We knew.
And we tried to, and we were gonna do this separate, so that's fine, just like, we can't listen.
Okay, let's keep going.
It was him wanting to be
He
stricter.
wanted to be stricter in his
Oh.
home as far as keeping kosher, and Wendy didn't.
See, right there. That's okay. So that's a learning lesson, and we've talked about it. I've talked about it in other videos. Dan Markell wanted to be stricter on keeping kosher. Wendy didn't, and they have a conflict. When you're in a relationship, and I always say this, but you're going to be her chief, her superhero, her daddy, her king. And I've experienced this. If you haven't experienced this with a woman, then you don't know what you don't know. Women are awesome when they love you, when they respect you, and they will not do something like this and cause a conflict like this. They know you're the leader. They know you make the calls. If we're staying kosher, we're staying kosher. This girl right here, abrasive. Any resistance is in dating is disinterest. In a relationship, any resistance is disrespect, or you could say disinterest.
Yeah, man, we were even going through that at some point. So it was, I was like telling him about how, well, I understand, you agree, well, we're going to compromise, we're going to do this. And then she wouldn't do that, and it would be like,
Okay, right there. Exactly. So you only get a couple of chances, right? He would tell Wendy to do, Dan Markell, when they were married. He would tell Wendy, his wife, to do something, and she would not do it. You got to have a punishment for that, or, you got to leave. I mean, you got to be. And this is how serious it is. He lost his life because he didn't do these things right. And so people want to go, oh, you're this and that, and it's not that serious. Whatever. It's as serious. He lost his life because he didn't know how to do this relationship. He didn't know how much he wasn't respected and hated. So if she's not doing what you told her to do, you're the leader, you're the king, you're the boss. That's how, if you're going to have a successful relationship, that's how it needs to go.
I'm compromising and trying to make an agreement. It's those kind of frustrations.
Compromising, yeah.
And honestly, we went to Shabbos.
That's Friday.
We went to dinner once. You understand? If you don't understand a word we're saying, we went Friday night.
Friday night.
It's like, she was saying the other day, fatoy.
Okay, that's
I've never heard that word.
Feh is like an old Yiddish lady, like it's like
I'd never heard that term.
It was like that too.
He was like that. It was.
Okay.
I had a dog. I have a Great Dane that attacked one of the other dogs.
He didn't want him there. He didn't want the dog, so we had to take it to the house. Okay, go back there.
Good sidetrack.
You had Shabbos.
Yeah, so Shabbos dinner, and we were like, because we were still fussing a little bit between us back then, and now because they were so like almost like overly perfect, you know?
It's right there. Image management. Wendy's a good image manager. She's been a good image manager. Kept her out of jail and kept charges from her. You know, overly perfect. You don't need overly perfect. You need like these people, authentic. You can tell these people. You know, me being 22 years in law enforcement with the Houston Police Department and now retired, I can see people. They're very comfortable. They're very relaxed. You know, these are easygoing people. These are cool people. You know, that you'd want to hang out with.
We don't like legal, you know?
Yeah, I told him.
That's usually a facade, overly perfect.
Right, you know, they're all happy and lovey and
Uh-huh.
singing and dancing.
Uh-huh.
And here I am just.
Performative. That's a lot of times performative.
And he'd share it even by that.
And even like in the police department, we would always say, you know, and it kind of sounds bad, but it's like, you know, someone was too nice. Hey, officer, how you doing? Why are you waving? It's like, what did they steal? Why is he being so nice to me? I mean, it's, you know.
They occasionally had disagreements, but I didn't know, you know, because probably 6 months after that, you know, I realized they were having more disagreements.
Uh-huh.
I think they were going to counseling, you know.
Disagreements, meaning resistance, meaning lack of respect, meaning lack of following his rules, meaning lack of a plan, lack of respect for a man. When a woman is misbehaving, when a woman is not following what you want to do, then that is disrespect. That is hatred. And counseling doesn't work because counseling, what has happened in that when a woman is misbehaving like that or whatever, and you're having disagreements and arguments, what that is loss of desire for you, and you cannot negotiate desire. You cannot bring desire back for somebody. You know, you just can't. It's a feeling. Once that one, and especially with women, they're emotional, right? Once she loses that feeling, once she's lost that love and feeling for you, you lost that love. But no, it's true though. Once she loses it, it ain't coming back. You can't counsel it back. So, you know, women will go to marriage counseling to check that box and go, I tried everything. I went to marriage counseling and everything.
That's sort of the short of the first part of our relationship, you
Well,
know.
the first part was we had dinner with them. We thought everything was perfect. You know, they put on, you know, it just seemed too perfect. When you would see them,
It was.
very lovely. If you go back and look
Performative.
at the pages, happy 60th wedded bliss, 60th month, or, you know, it was like, who says this stuff?
Uh-huh.
You know, he's too mushy or too lovey or lady.
Not
bears.
authentic.
It's always the
The
bears.
bears, yeah.
They were always the bears.
The bears.
And so you know, they kind of were having trouble, and then next thing we know,
I was
they're getting a
surprised when he
divorce.
said that they're
Yeah.
getting divorced, but I knew they were having problems, but I didn't know it was anywhere near that.
It was after Lincoln, after they had.
Well, because Danny probably didn't know how bad it was.
I don't remember
We don't-
months and everything, but it was right after that had happened, and he was completely shocked. I'm sure you've heard the story of how everything went, you know, occurred, how many people by now.
And that's crazy. Completely shocked. They've been to counseling. I'm sure sex has fallen off with her. You know, I'm sure. I mean, they're fighting. Dude, that's no. You're that. If that comes as a shock, it means you're not. You don't know how to do relationships. You don't know how to manage them. You don't know how to lead. Anyway.
I want to hear from y'all because you're you're one of the closer ones.
He was-
Yeah, I saw him. I bet it was probably the week it happened.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I went to New York, and you know, like either she called him or he called her when he got off the plane and said, don't want to do
She
this anymore."
called him, I think, and said,
I want a divorce.
I want a divorce, and he tried to get on a plane to come back.
And by the time he got
So
there,
she waited till he was out of town?
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she had planned it. Done a Dear John letter. That's been in other videos of mine. You know, that right there shows the level of disrespect, the level of disregard for his feelings. She don't care. She's checked out. She ain't coming back. And it shows how he didn't understand women in general, and he didn't understand his wife, and he didn't understand the relationship was in. And this is not talking bad about him because he was an extremely brilliant man. I've heard him talk and give a conference. Dude, you can barely understand. He's so smart. He's like, dude, so this is not me, but we all have our, strengths. We all have our weaknesses. And his weakness was, and that's why I say you can't have a weakness in dating because it can cost you your life. Now, I don't want people to get paranoid. Oh, I'm going to die. I don't know. But it is very serious. It can cost you your house, cost you your kids, cost you half your property, cost you half your pension, cost you half your retirement, So, anyway, let's go.
and I think he came back very quickly.
He came back.
Yeah, he did. He begged her, and you don't beg.
But he got back, and the house was cleaned out.
Yep.
The bank accounts were, I don't know if they were all the way into
Half.
or something like
Yep.
that.
Took a lot of money out.
I don't know, he had several.
And that's something, dude. That's why you got to know this stuff, right? If you're, if you're in a sexless marriage and you guys feel like roommates and you're sleeping there, and she pulls the trigger on you, trust me, she's already gonna have cleaned those bank accounts out at least a week to a month ahead before, because let's say she pulls the trigger. Here, I got the divorce papers on you. You're gonna try to go use your bank account or your credit cards. Your credit cards are all maxed out. Your bank accounts are all gone. I mean, that's how this stuff happens, though. That's why you gotta take the initiative and end the relationship.
And money, and she had.
She wouldn't tell them where the kids were for like, it took 2 weeks.
2 weeks, see? More disrespect. I mean, that, and again, that's an outlier type disrespect. The father of your children, who's a wonderful man and wonderful father, 2 weeks, he's not an abuser, never has abused a lady, never was physically abusive, and that's just, that's hatred. And so he should have, he needed to have his feelers up.
Agreed to meet him somewhere with the kids. It's very strange.
Yep. Very strange. Well, what she's doing is maintaining control of him, and she's doing it definitely by limiting information he has.
Certainly not a threatening personality.
Exactly.
He's not a dominant,
But that doesn't matter. She wants control.
Battered person, like a battered spouse would do, and she was just very unreasonable about it. I know we don't hear a whole lot of Wendy's side of anything. It was very difficult to. We saw her very shortly after.
See, and that's the thing is with these. They're such nice people, but the thing is you got to know. Hey, look, I don't need to know Wendy's side. I'm hearing what's just by what the action you said happened. The action, not the behavior, the action. That's disrespect. That's mistreatment. That's abuse. I don't need to know her side.
Condolences. I'm sorry this is happening, but it's very difficult to be friends with both of them. And Danny was the one we always see at school, but that same week that happened.
Again, they saw Danny. He's a Jewish guy. He went to all the services. I'm not Jewish. I don't know what the services are, but they just at shul or something. But basically, they saw him at church a lot. He's being devoted. He's carrying on his faith, and she's not. That's a big thing. You're the leader, you're the king, you're the daddy. If your daddy told, let's say a daughter, right? Say your daddy, whatever. If a daughter's daddy, and daddies love daughters like nobody's business. My dad did, I seen it. And, I see little girls, they're so cute, and I see dads just wrapped around their little finger, right? But, so I'm saying it in this light of, when daddy says we're going to church, you're going to church. You're daddy. And I don't mean that to be funny. And anyone that doesn't understand this, you can ignore what I'm saying, this and that, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Trust and believe.
He said, well, what can we do?
I've made the mistakes. I know what happened.
He said, well, I have no place to go for Shabbos dinner, and so we invited him over.
And then that's how it
From there, and it kind of gradually became closer and closer. Almost to the point sometimes where we felt like boundaries, like Danny, like it's time to go. We got stuff to do,
It's like we had to kick him out.
Yeah.
He wouldn't leave it, but he would stay all day.
But look how she's smiling. He's a good man.
Take no for an answer very well from people, but he did not say no. He was
Exactly.
very engaging, but it's just, you knew what Danny was after 5 minutes of meeting him. It was very obvious, what he is.
A good man.
But he was you heard it before. He truly, when he would come, he would bring stuff. He never came empty-handed.
Yep.
With his boys, he doted on them. He slept with them. He had family bed with his boys. So
He was he was overboard in some of that. I feel
Yeah, and I would say probably over-invested in his children, which I'll give Wendy. And Wendy's like he's overdoing it, and I think he wanted it his way or the highway. But you can only do that in a relationship if she thinks you're her king and your dad, all that I've said. But she has to be on board with you and think you're a badass and think you are her champion or you are her superhero. If you're not, and you're trying to implement rules like that and being as strict as Danny, you're just gonna piss a woman off. Trust me.
too much.
We went he didn't. I don't think he mowed his grass. I don't think he
didn't
cleaned his
have
house. I
clean- yeah,
think
he didn't have
they had
to.
help to do kind of.
See.
He expected her to call him to let him speak to the boys.
Oh, here we go.
Agreement.
Listen to this. Hold on. This is important.
He would kind of agree. He constantly tried to kind of keep things civil. And he never, even with us, he shared details, and it wasn't ever really like mean to her. It was like he was upset at what she did, but you know, there's a difference. Like, you know, you can get mad at somebody and talk bad about them.
Like, he wanted to talk to the boys on Skype every day, even if it was her day with them or they were with her. He expected her to call him to let him speak to the boys. I think in the agreement they were supposed to do 20 minutes a day. You know, she wouldn't do that. And
Boom, right there. Okay. So, and just to go over it, so he's supposed to get 20 minutes a day, talk to his kids on Skype. Now, is he a little over invested in his kids? Yes, but it doesn't matter. If a person, and we can, you know, just if you care about somebody, you know, regardless of a man or woman, you know, and okay, and the divorce agreement says 20 minutes a day, Skype, you know, she wouldn't do it. That is defiance. You know, if that were her father, if that were her boss, if that were the police or a law, I'm just saying law, right? You defied a law. You defied what your husband or ex-husband, a man you loved, you know, and richer and poorer, death to you part, whatever. It didn't work out, I understand, but you still should have a love there for him. And you're not letting him, those are severe signs of hatred and disrespect. And Danny didn't realize it. He would say, like these people said, oh, he would call, and I get it, like, oh, you know, he didn't like the way she acted. But he wouldn't talk crap about her, right? But, you know, he needed to have a time where he's like, hey, I'm hated. This lady's a total biatch, you know, and there's no, you know, was it crush your enemy totally? She's irredeemable. You cannot negotiate with this woman. You cannot play nice with this woman. She hates you, and you gotta, yeah, it's hard to find the words, but basically, she's an adversary, and you gotta treat her like one. She's an enemy. You got to respect your enemy, but you give them no ground to fuck with you.
That bothered him, and she had a ring of his uncle's that he wanted back, and she wouldn't give it back, and she said if his uncle asked for it, she'd return it. Well,
I mean, come on, man, it was right there. I mean, she had the ring of his uncle, and he wants it back. It's not even hers. And she said, well, if your uncle, I mean, that is a lady that hates you. You know, these are huge levels of disrespect. You know, and this is an outlier type level of disrespect. But any level of resistance, any level of non-cooperation, any level of misbehavior from anybody, you know, but in a woman, in this case, man, you know, having a woman misbehave, that you are hated. This guy is hated. And after hearing all this, it's no wonder he was murdered.
You know,
that's how much she hated him.
98 years old.
Yeah, it was things like that I think once the custody agreement was settled, where it was almost 50-50, that's all he cared about to kind of settle the divorce. But once he had that custody locked in and he started thinking about those things, that's when he was like, well, I'm going to fight for it. You know, I'm going to go back and I'm going to fight for this.
I think the change was the relocation, the conflict they had. When that happened, I think in his mind, he switched to, because I do feel like before that, he was kind of giving in to everything she wanted to do.
He saw threats. Yeah, and he got pushed. He got pushed to his limit. But the only problem is he's fighting back too late, and he's not as good as her at being a jerk. But he's fighting like a lawyer. He was doing petty stuff, and just yeah. You don't fight with someone like her. You know, you just basically you know who she is, and there's the law of power. What is know who you are dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. See, it's always the law of power. And he offended the wrong family, the wrong person. He did. You know, you don't offend them, because what it says in that law is some people will spend the rest of your life trying to get even with you and make your life hell. Well, they spent one day getting even with him, and he lost his life.
Save the idea that they were both going to be able to communicate nicely and raise these kids. And I understand her perspective in that she was trying to get away from him, and she, you know, here, even on her days with the kids, he's got Skype with them. You know, I understand it can be frustrating.
It is a little overbearing, yes.
Agreement, you know. But when that happened, I think it switched a little bit, and that's specifically what I want to tell you. I mentioned it at the memorial on Star. It wasn't very much. You know, I slept 2 hours and driven a lot and upset, but.
And look at the wife, though.
That switched
Look
his
how she
brain
acts. This is
from,
how your wife should. Not talking over you.
being
Not.
nice
She looks
and,
at him. He's the
and
leader.
started thinking about all the, like Maya said, all the things that he
And they do this
kinda screwed
naturally.
her about. And
Yeah.
something, and I don't know the details, but I think I talked to him on Tuesday, the Tuesday before he died. We were at Panama City Beach, or I was at Panama City. She was working. She didn't come till late that night. But he called me, so I called him back, and he said, "I got good stuff to tell you. You know, I got lots of big stuff going on." And I was like, "Well, now you got me curious, you know." And he said, "Well," and now he brought up his girlfriend in New York, just because they had last time she came down, they were, you know,
They
were off a little bit.
a little bit.
and,
The girlfriend?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so he went back to New York with her.
He wasn't going to go back. She was here.
Okay, listen to this. This is what Danny still has to learn about relationships. So they just said his girlfriend's, and she's a pretty lady. I've seen her, and she's a well-accomplished woman. But he just said, and the girl's named Amy. She lives in New York. She just is getting a divorce from her husband. But watch how they describe just watch.
A couple days
She was here. She was supposed to be here for longer than she
longer
was.
than she was.
And she was spazzing out because her kid, she's recently divorced too, or I don't even know if they're
I don't know
actually
if it's
divorced
final
all the way
yet,
yet,
I
but
don't know.
their one child was
Was
at
at
camp,
camp.
and he has some
ADHD. He was
he has some kind
diagnosed
of,
with ADHD.
Okay, right there. I mean, I don't know if they don't know or they're just giving her a benefit of the doubt. No, a woman who thinks you're daddy, who feels safe around you, who loves you, who respects you, who thinks you're her king, who thinks you're her champion, superhero, and he's exclusively dating this woman, right? And she comes down to Florida and leaves early for her son who has ADHD in camp or whatever. That's an excuse. If a woman wants to be somewhere, and they don't. I mean, the crazy things that great women have done for me, in spite of their kids, in spite of their relatives. I mean, women will for the man that they love, dude, and that they're really into you. Like, dude, they're awesome. Women are just unbelievable people, and they'll totally champion your causes, right? And yeah, if she was supposed to be here 2 weeks, she would have been here 2 weeks. If she really liked Danny, she would have been here 2 weeks in a day, and she wouldn't have wanted to leave. No, she left early. Danny still didn't realize after, a failed marriage, and that's why everybody needs to kind of, evaluate themselves, where to go wrong, But, yeah, I mean, she left early because she didn't like Danny enough.
yeah.
She didn't want to be here.
She was upset about him, and so she was going to leave. When she came, she agreed to come, but she was only going to stay a little bit, and then he ended up going back with her.
With
And then when he
And
came back,
again, following her back up to New York like a little, puppy dog. That's bad, Danny. You try to get your wife back. Now you're following this lady, dude, and she's gonna lose respect for him. So, no. See, he still was making mistakes. That's beta.
Yeah.
That's beta
to
behavior.
break through, like everything.
Yeah. See, once again, they had a breakthrough. And Danny was really happy after he went to New York and chased her down to. I mean, I'm being a little facetious. I love Danny. I'm not saying, but that's a bad move. And a woman's gonna go, yeah, we had a breakthrough. Heck yeah. No, she was just. They're gonna be indirect. They're gonna say you were right. Okay, cool. And he said he's gonna think because he really loved her. She was a really pretty lady. Oh, we had a breakthrough. I guarantee she wasn't gonna be coming back down for a long time.
were we talking too much together?
No, so there was a little bit of tension the last time she was down, and so then it felt like they worked it out.
They worked it
Right.
out.
I don't think it was tension like their tension was that she didn't want necessarily the relationship out in the open at that point.
Yes.
Okay, so once again, Amy, his girlfriend, did not want the relationship public. That's a big. When a woman, again, I keep this, but it's important muscle memory to know these things. When a woman loves and digs on you, she wants you. She wants to advertise you. She wants to let people know about you. She wants to tell the world about you. It's serious. She's giddy about you, because she knows you're a badass. She wants to show everybody, look who I got, But when a woman's saying she doesn't want your relationship public, well, number one, it's probably because she's, not so proud about being with you. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It's just she's not into you that much. Secondly, is she possibly carrying on a rotation so she can't go public? I mean, that would be a huge, what the hell is going on, Willis?
wanna make
She
it
was like, I'm not
public,
even
and Danny
legally
was-
divorced all the way yet.
Oh no. They don't care.
All matter.
Yeah, we met her
Yes,
twice.
yeah, we had
She
dinner
came down
with her.
twice.
They don't care if you're legally divorced. Blah blah. No, that's once again an excuse.
She stayed at our house the one
Yeah,
time.
the first time she came, they
They
went to
stayed at
Leah's
our
in
house.
Thomasville and then, came
We
back and they stayed
and they
there.
stayed at our
So,
house. The second time we had dinner at Minnesota.
I don't remember what restaurant, whatever it is.
It was not Market Square. I think
There's
it's
a mosaic in
Mosaic.
there.
So when the two times she's come, one time she stayed at our house, and the second time we just met her for dinner.
And she seemed fine
She's
to us,
wonderful.
but we really.
No, and she is wonderful. She just doesn't like Danny a lot. She doesn't like Danny as much as he likes her. That's the bottom line. And Danny doesn't realize it.
She hates flying.
No, she hates flying. No, when a woman loves and digs on you, they don't care. An astronaut wore a diaper from Houston to Florida to go catch her boyfriend who was cheating on her, and she wanted him back or whatever. She wore a diaper. Women will do the craziest things. That's why women are awesome. When they love a man, they love a man.
She just doesn't travel well. She
No.
panics.
No,
Literally.
she
But
doesn't.
they, bottom line is, I think they kind of finally agreed how they were going to handle everything. And like he said, he specifically said I made kind of a breakthrough with Amy, and
No, he
blah, blah, blah,
didn't.
and everything was good. And that case that he had going on in New York, he was excited about working on that. And I think financially it was a good thing for him. And I think probably ego-wise, it's probably good for him. Yeah. And that's it. But and this is again, Amy's the one who told me this, but because I already knew about what was going on with this case, with the divorce case. And today I called to check on Amy, and she said that he filed all that stuff. I think on Thursday, the day before this happened.
Day before the murder.
Maybe disbarred or something.
Yeah, there's a big
thing.
We'll go for it a little bit.
and his lawyer quit because, or Danny said,
Okay.
I had to call Amy because these are all legal academics. All three
They're
of them.
all
Oh, wait, go back.
Amy was aware of all of them.
Yeah.
Go back.
Paralegal or something.
He didn't tell me that. He told me because he didn't want to go.
Go back.
I think she perjured, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
He said she did not disclose certain things and there's
Financial
under oath,
things.
and just though, I think going back, I don't know how big of a deal they were. I think some of the complaints were probably not that big of a deal, but he was,
He was gonna file sanctions
Right.
against her
and
lawyer.
her lawyer even,
They
I think
quit.
her lawyer was gonna be a problem. It was gonna be in potentially some issues with her profession. And enough that I know the lawyer quit,
Recused themselves from
yeah,
the
her lawyer
answers.
quit after he started all this, and then his lawyer quit or Danny said, because he felt that lawyer felt bad for going after another lawyer.
Or I thought, didn't his wife work paralegal or something?
He didn't tell me that. He told me because he didn't want to go.
Go a little forward.
It would tell us a lot. There was one in particular that was married. And
Okay, here we go. Here we go. And then I'll end it here.
That's what you heard him say, something like
Yeah,
that.
I have no idea. Now, that's the only thing as far as like the whole Wendy thing. Now, Danny did, after the divorce, he dated a lot of women. He would tell us about it. He was very open about it.
But you'll see in his behavior, he dates wrong.
Some of them.
And we'll learn some lessons here, guys. If you're making these mistakes, don't.
In particular, that was married. And we.
I found the names today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to call Amy because these are all legal academics. All three
They're
of them
all
were.
lawyers.
And Amy
And
was aware of all of them. His
Yeah.
new girlfriend.
Yeah,
Yes.
she knew all about it, but she knew they were before her,
But there was
she doesn't know
one-
one of them,
Yeah.
but, you don't know.
You could tell.
See? You defer to the man.
These are the two names. Lisa Kerr.
She was
I think
married.
she was still in contact with Danny and friendly. None of these were serious relationships, but
They're banging.
At least not on Danny's perspective.
No, they're banging.
This one, man,
Casual relationship with lawyer ladies. This is what happens, guys. Look how much banging goes on.
Dawn was the one that I remember this happening. She was the one who was married.
She's married. She kind of freaked out on him. They were supposed to meet at the beach one weekend, and it was supposed to be like Danny was excited about it, And she got there and was like, don't touch me, she met him there, but
Yeah,
it was
and
like.
I can't verify, I know that Nancy was one of
Well, once again, Danny should have. She freaked out on him. This lady didn't like him. That's resistance. Resistance is disinterest. When that happens, Danny should have ended the date, sent her on her way. But he's like, I don't know what happened. Bottom line is, she don't like you.
the girls, and Lisa was one of the names.
There was
Amy
another-
said she knows that's the one that Danny talked about that was crazy, that
Yeah.
did this date. She knew
She
they went
was
to the beach and
married.
everything.
And her.
Well, but he says crazy, but is it crazy, or do you not know what to do when a woman don't like you and you're still hanging out with her? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not,
was actually applying for a faculty position at a.
She told me, Amy told me today that Danny didn't want really anyone to know that him and this girl had hooked up at some point because, Nancy, because Nancy's husband is also a lawyer and was applying maybe.
look at that. Let married ladies, look how women move,
He said applying to something at FSU.
And so when a woman's telling you she doesn't have sex on her first date, doesn't kiss on her first date, look what they're doing. That is all bunk. Women are very sexual with the people they want to be sexual with. If they don't want to be sexual with you early, they don't like you.
That to
That to come
become
out.
And
then there's a Turkish one.
but when she went to the beach, though, I remember when they went to the beach, like Maya said, it was like a very big disappointment. Danny said, I think he woke her up or something at night. She freaked out and didn't talk to him all the rest of the time. Afterwards, she said she had some paper due in the Harvard Law Review, and that was why she was just under a lot of stress.
No, she doesn't like him.
The bottom line is their relationship was done after that.
How long ago was that?
It was before he started dating Amy, so before Jane.
So he already messed up with Amy, didn't realize Amy didn't like him. This lady doesn't like him. When women are misbehaving and not acting normal around you, they don't like you.
Or this 2014, January 2014?
Sometime, like they've been
I think
dating
they've
8
known each other
months.
longer, but I think the dating part was.
Do you know if any of these have recently contacted him
I know,
since?
well,
Lisa.
I know that Lisa, I think.
When he was in New
Yeah,
York
Amy even told me a
last.
story about Lisa calling him about some cockroach. I'm assuming you've talked to Amy plenty.
I've talked to him.
Yeah.
Did she mention something about Lisa?
Didn't mention any of these women.
Okay.
Those are the-
I think
those
I think she's not.
heavily medicated.
She sounds like it.
Yeah.
She told me actually, she goes, I just took another tranquilizer.
Yeah, she's heavily medicated.
But please don't assume that we know anything.
Okay. Well, again, like this one, just from talking to Danny and the fact that she has an open marriage
Well,
and is doing
I
that.
cautioned him, I'm like, Danny, you're nuts. She's
Yep.
married. Don't-
Yeah.
Open marriage bullshit. Bullshit.
Do husband have the same last name?
I have no idea. I know that she worked, well, I don't know, but per Amy, she works at the University of Denver.
Leon.
Leon. Leong.
She
Yeah.
works at the University of Denver.
They're all in academia.
And her husband's a lawyer too. I don't know his
Yeah,
name.
so-
For all I know, I don't know if Danny asked her husband if it was an open marriage, I mean,
Right.
Yeah, no, it
He
wasn't.
was actually coming to Florida to try, or applying for a job here
I don't know.
at Florida State.
I don't know. I mean, that's what Amy said, and that's not, Danny did not tell me that. So,
But Danny told us about this relationship and we were like.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I was like, what are you doing with a
What
girl
are you
like
doing
that?
to marry woman?
Was it her first, or were these
They were
simultaneous?
simultaneous.
They were all kind
They
of
were
all
within
around.
with
Banging.
a few months period. He was
Yeah.
going to conferences, and he's, at one conference, I think he said.
Banging. Banging, 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 banging.
All three of them were there at the
Woo!
same time.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Don't believe these ladies. Don't kiss on first dates. They celibate. No.
But yeah, Amy told us that recently when Danny was up there visiting with her, because what would happen when Amy would have her son, Danny would have to go stay in his friend's apartment up there.
Amy didn't want Danny around Harry, like didn't want Harry aware.
Doesn't like him enough.
And she said that Danny, and she said Danny asked her permission to still be friends with Lisa, and she said okay.
Not leading.
But
You're friends with who you want to be
she said
friends with.
Lisa asked Danny to called him at midnight or something and asked him to squash a cockroach or I got a bug in my house or whatever, and Danny told her I can't do that. It's not appropriate. So, and then the third one was a Turkish girl. I remember him saying that she was half Turkish, either half Turkish or full Turkish. She didn't know who Amy doesn't remember who that is. She does know that he saw her in January at something, but he doesn't know her name or anything.
What? Okay, let's let's try to get the timeline here. I mean, I know there was all three, but really there was one and.
No, they were really with
They
all
were
three.
really like all the time.
Okay,
Like
but
literally all three.
Yeah,
at this, I mean, but.
literally.
Talking about like in the same day.
Rotations.
I'm saying
Rotations.
that one,
They're having rotations.
and then the second one the next day.
I think he probably knew all these people for a long time. They're legal academics, so he
Oh,
Good for Danny, but Danny needed to know who liked him and who didn't, and when he was being respected on that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he probably knew them and then.
Okay, go forward a little bit. See we.
so Lisa Kerr is where's she at?
I'm a,
Going forward.
Said it to Danny, remember she wanted him
I know he had to get tested before he could go.
Oh, with Nancy, she made him be, one of them made him be
This one made him be
tested.
tested. Nancy.
That's all
He
BS.
was excited about going to the beach.
Yeah.
Because
This young lady, I don't even have that.
Tamara.
Yeah.
Was there any?
Yeah.
Nothing there. Go forward.
crazy, like, you know, and they said yes, but in a nice way.
In a nice way,
Yeah.
so, but I just, she made me feel like
Go forward.
Valentine's Day, I remember that it was around Valentine's Day.
But when that started with Amy, these were done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, when
There was a
he,
break.
right,
Go forward. I think I'm gonna end it right there, guys. We got plenty of gems out of that. You gotta know when you're disrespected. You gotta know when you're hated. You gotta know, you gotta be the king. You gotta be her daddy. You gotta be the man. You gotta be her superhero. She has to like you way more than you like her. She will always have options, and she needs to know that you're the best man she can get. That's her hypergamous nature. All right, we'll see you on the next one.